Losing a pet is like losing a piece of your heart. If you're struggling with grief, you're not alone. At My Dog Died, we understand the pain and are here to support you. Visit us today and find comfort, guidance, and a community that cares. We received a letter from someone who has lost their pet and have allowed us to share their story so that it will help other listeners deal with the loss of their pet. Remember, if you like this video, please support us with a like, subscribe, and share. Hello, friends. When I opened Salma's letter today, I could feel the weight of her choice before I even finished the first few lines. She is 54, from Palm Springs, California, and her story isn't just about losing a dog. It's about nearly losing herself, her home, her peace, all because of her deep love for Chester, her 7-year-old chocolate lab. Salma begins by telling me how Chester came into her life, not as just a pet, but as a presence. Big, goofy, chocolate brown eyes that could melt away her worst days. Chester had a habit, she says, of doing what she calls the circle dance. Every time she set down his food bowl, he'd prance in 3 happy spins before lowering his head to eat. It was his little ritual, she writes, like a prayer of gratitude before a meal. But Chester was also protective. He barked loudly whenever someone came too close to the front door. And unfortunately, that bark became the seed of conflict. A new HOA board had taken over in her community, and one of the officers, the president himself, took offense at Chester's voice. He barked at him once, Salma says, and that was enough. The letter started. The fines, the threats. They wanted Chester gone. Imagine that. Being told you must choose between your dog, the soul of your home, and the house you worked so hard to build. For Salma, the decision wasn't easy, but it was clear. I could rebuild equity someday, she writes, but I could never rebuild Chester. He was irreplaceable, and so she sold her home, leaving behind not just walls and rooms, but years of effort, memories, and financial security, all to keep the beating heart of her life by her side. When I read those words, I had to set the letter down for a moment, because what Salma chose wasn't just sacrifice. It was love in its rawest form. The world might measure it as losing money, but in truth, Salma refused to lose what mattered most. She walked away from the brick and stucco of a house, but she kept her family intact. That is courage. That is love. The bond between them, as she describes, is one of constant companionship. Chester followed her from room to room, always needing to be close enough to feel her presence. At night, he would curl at the foot of her bed, sighing into sleep like he was finally safe. On difficult days, when loneliness crept in, Chester would nuzzle her hand until she laughed through her tears. He wasn't just my dog, she writes. He was my witness. He saw me. And then, in a quieter section of her letter, she shares how she found us here at MyDogDied.com. She says it was during one of those long nights after moving, when she felt she had lost everything except Chester. Searching online for comfort, she stumbled upon this community. It felt like someone reached through the screen and whispered, "You're not alone." For the first time, I felt like someone understood what it meant to love a dog so fiercely that you'd give up the world to keep him. Reading that, I felt both pride and humility. Pride that this space has become a lifeline for people like Salma. Humility, because it reminds me that these words we share here are not small. They're a lantern in dark rooms, a hand to hold when the world feels cruel. As I finish her letter, I find myself thinking of Chester's circle dance, that little whirl of joy, repeated meal after meal, as if to say, this moment matters. This food, this love, this life, it matters. What a lesson for all of us. To take what we have, however simple, and honor it with gratitude. Salma gave up her house, but she kept her heart whole. And in Chester's circle dance, I see the truth of it. Love will always outspin loss. To Salma, to Chester, and to everyone reading, may you remember that home is not 4 walls, but the soul who dances with you inside them.
Your love for your pet never fades, and neither should your support. If you're grieving, don't go through it alone. Visit MyDogDied.com or call us at 85-5925-2658 and connect with those who truly understand. Healing starts here. Remember, if you like this video, please support us with a like, subscribe, and share. If you have a story that you would like to tell us, your dog stories at mydogdied.com, at gmail.com.